बाकी बच्चे अशुद्ध हो जाते मेरी वजह से, इसलिए सब एक साथ बैठते, मुझे अलग बैठना पड़ता है अकेले। इसलिए मैं जाता नहीं, मुझे शर्म आती है। मैं उनके साथ बैठूं तो वो वहां से उठ जाते हैं, मैं अकेला रह जाता हूँ। इससे तो अच्छा है मैं जाऊँ ही नहीं खाने के लिए। मुझे तो समझ ही नहीं आता ये छुआछूत क्या है ये सब।
Imagine filing a complaint against someone and getting them suspended immediately from the college, right before any investigation or any kind of trial. Well, welcome to India, wherein last month the university is literally turned into war zones over certain new rules and regulations that almost no one has actually read. The Supreme Court is getting bombarded with petitions, universities have turned into protest grounds, and the reason behind all these chaos? A 40-page government document that has somehow managed to unite India in the worst possible way by dividing everyone. Today, we are diving deep into the UGC Equity Rules 2026, what they actually say, why everyone's losing their absolute minds. So, on January 13, 2026, the University Grant Commission, which is also known as UGC, the overlords of Indian higher education, drops these new regulations. Before that, let me just go ahead and tell you what is UGC and what they actually do. UGC is basically a statutory body established in 1956, and they are responsible for the coordination, determination, and maintenance of standards of higher education, which basically includes teaching, examination, and research across universities and colleges in all over India. So, the UGC drops these new regulation and named it as Promotion of Equity in Higher Education Institutions Regulation 2026. And after 2 weeks, absolute chaos. Mass protests in Delhi University, JNU, IITs, upper caste student organizations forming coordination committees like they are planning a new revolution of some kind, reserved category students celebrating in the streets, general category students claiming they are being systematically targeted. Apart from this, we also saw the education minister doing damage control in the live television, universities shutting down, and everyone, I repeat, everyone is screaming at each other on Instagram and X. Where one guy who was just putting his point said UGC did the right thing as many upper caste students are casteist and discriminate based on that. And another guy replied to him with, but here's the interesting part. Most of the people protesting and defending them haven't read the rules yet. Everyone's just fighting based on WhatsApp forwards and Instagram stories and whatever their favorite comedy news channel told them to be angry about. So, I did something absolutely radical in 2026. I actually read the whole thing, all 40 pages. I even took a deep dive at the Supreme Court's petition challenging it. I went through the legal proceedings, I researched the backstory, and folks, this is so much messier than it actually looks. Now, I'm gonna present you some facts. No spin, no agendas, just what this document actually says. There are certain rules that UGC wants all the colleges all over India to accept without asking any questions. Rule number 1. Every single university and college in India must now create an equity committee. Not the Shark Tank equity because you can't be the shareholder of your own college. You know? Common sense. Not should create, not we recommend creating, but must create. It's mandatory. Rule number 2. This committee has to have 7 to 9 members, including people from SC, ST, OBC communities, people with disabilities, and women. Who is missing? Obviously, general category students. Rule number 3, and this is the most concerning rule and regulation. Define caste-based discrimination as, and I'm reading the exact words here, discrimination against members of scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, and other backward classes, against SC, ST, and OBC. What does that mean? It means if you are from a general category, then these rules are not applicable. Rule number 4. These committees will have serious power. They can investigate complaints, and here's the kicker. They can recommend immediate suspension of the accused, not after investigation, not after trial, immediately, on complaint alone. And rule number 5. If universities don't follow these rules, the UGC can defund them or straight up shut them down. This is not a polite suggestion. This is law with actual teeth. It means if you're a dark complexion person with small height and you're from general category, so that basically means they can make you dance like this. And you can't complain. Now, many of you must be thinking, but why? Where did this come from? And who thought this was a good idea? In that context, let me tell you some heartbreaking stories. So bear with me. 2016, Hyderabad Central University. There's a Dalit PhD scholar named Rohit Vemula. Brilliant guy, 26 years old, studying for his doctorate. He had a bright future, but he faces institutional discrimination, gets suspended from his hostel, his fellowship, which was his only income, gets stopped, and on January 17, 2016, Rohit Vemula dies by suicide. He left behind a letter that absolutely shattered his family. He wrote, "My birth is my fatal accident. I feel a growing gap between my soul and my body." 3 years later, 2019, Mumbai, a young doctor named Payal Tadvi. She's from a tribal community. She's a junior resident working insane hospital hours trying to help people. Her seniors, her senior doctors, the people supposed to mentor her, allegedly harass her day after day with casteist slurs. On 22nd May that same year, Payal Tadvi committed suicide. She was just 26 years old. Two young people, two brilliant futures gone. And these are not the only cases. There are many cases which never came out in public. And after these cases, both of their parents went to Supreme Court. They said, look, we want justice for our kids. We have these 2012 guidelines against caste discrimination in universities, but they're useless. They are voluntary, nobody follows them, nobody enforces them. And now our children are gone because of this failed system. The Supreme Court listened. And they told the UGC, make this mandatory, give it real power, make sure this never happens again. And that's how we got the 2026 regulations. So when people ask, why do we need these rules? That's why. Because young people died, because discrimination is real, because something had to change. Now, what's the reason behind January 2026 protest? Let me make something crystal clear before the comment section explodes. The students protesting these rules are not saying, yay, discrimination, we love caste discrimination. No. I mean, this is not a pollution protest. That thing still makes me scared. Every student from both the sides agrees that caste discrimination is evil and needs to stop. The debate is about answers and share of responsibility. And this debate also indicates that people are educated because they are asking the right questions. So I have prepared some problems which is really important to look at. Problem 1. The definition is legally one-sided. Now ask yourself a question. Does caste discrimination only happens with SC, ST and OBC community people? What happens when it goes the other way? What if an SC student call a Brahmin student upper caste oppressor in the class? Under these regulations, that literally would not be classified as caste-based discrimination because the victim is not from SC, ST or OBC. And before you say that never happens, it does because we don't live in a perfect world. And when these things happen, the regulations basically say not a problem. One student actually put it perfectly. He said, "You're telling me discrimination based on caste is only wrong when it happens to certain castes? How is it equity? How is it equality? That's just selective justice." Problem number 2. The committee is potentially biased. If an SC student files a complaint against a general category student, who judges this case? A committee that will have SC, ST, OBC, disability and women representative, but zero requirement for general category representation. So, you could literally have a panel of 7 people, all from reserved categories, deciding the fate of a general category student accused by a reserved category student. Now, the counter argument is strong. Reserved category students are the minority. They are the one facing discrimination. They need protection. Why should general category student get special committee seats when they are already the majority everywhere else? But the logic breaks down fast because we are not talking about admission seats or job. We are talking about who decides if you are guilty or innocent. And in any justice system worth respecting, both sides deserve fair representation in trial. Problem number 3. False complaints have zero consequences. The regulations are very detailed about investigation procedures, protecting complaints, and punishing perpetrators. Pages and pages about that. But penalties and false complaints, not mentioned. Not once, nowhere. And I can already hear some of you saying false complaints don't happen, stop making up problems. So that basically means you don't know anything about campus politics, personal grudges, ideological wars, and most important, romantic rejection that turn into revenge plots. The people who actually went to college know that all of that exists. Now add caste into that toxic mix and give someone the power to destroy another student's semester, potentially their career, with one complaint that triggers immediate suspension before any investigation. Now tell me, you still think these regulations won't get abused? Problem number 4. Guilty until proven innocent. The committee can suspend you immediately without investigating. One complaint equals instant suspension, equals your education, your academic year potentially ruined. Now look, in sexual harassment cases, immediate suspension pending investigation is standard practice. I get it. You need to protect potential victims, but even in those cases, there is usually preliminary verification first. A basic fact check within 24 to 48 hours. Did the incident happen? Is there any initial evidence? These regulations don't specify that requirement. It's just complaints equals suspension. In a perfect world with perfect people, that's fine. But we don't live in a perfect world. We live in a world where false rape cases have destroyed innocent lives, where false dowry cases have jailed innocent families, where false complaints are a documented reality. Now, let's completely flip the script. Let's look at the other end, because the students defending these rules, they are not crazy either. I read an interview with a Dalit student from Delhi University that honestly made me emotional. He said, and I quote, "These people protesting have never lived our reality. Professors marking us down because our surname gives away our caste. Students literally refusing to sit next to us in the library, being intentionally excluded from the study groups right before exams, finding casteist slurs written about us on hostel bathroom walls. This is our daily life." And you know what makes this even worse? He's not exaggerating. There's a 2016 committee report, official government research on discrimination in Indian university. The data is horrifying. 60%, I repeat, 60% of Dalit students reported facing caste-based discrimination.
तुम गिलास में कैसे पानी पी लिया हमारा?
अरे आपने सब किया हमने पिया
क्यों पी लिया?
Not suspected, not maybe, it is reported as fact. After Rohit Vemula died, 7 universities got investigated. And the investigation team found that all these things, all these complaints were right. So now the most important question is, how can we have a fair trial? Well, that's what these so-called policymakers should think of and understand. It can be by changing the definition of the discrimination or by fixing the committee composition by adding 1 or 2 general category seats. These people need to understand how to make rules and how to impose it. And for the students, instead of fighting with your own classmates, fight with these so-called policymakers. So thanks again, guys. If you really like this video, please hit a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.